everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I wanted to come on and do a quick live feed because this morning we woke to a super high number again on the Shumann resonance. It was at 77, I believe, between 71 and 77. But the interesting part is there were blackouts during that period. So there were points where there was no data being recorded, which was really, really interesting because we will never know how high we were spiking, but we're still on an uphill trend. So far this morning, I've had many reports of people being anxious, many reports of people being shaky, people feeling kind of this like nausea or like sick to their stomach. All of that right now is completely normal. And I bet so many of you are wondering, why is this happening? What is going on right now? Why does this keep happening? It is unique that it is happening. I will tell you that much. It is not normal. The past probably 6 months have been really wild, 3 months increasingly wild with the Shumann resonance. The past year has really been the documented time that it's been acting up. And I think a lot of us can probably trace back about a year and think of all of the different things we've gone through just in the past year. And that's all part of this awakening process that's happening. Those of you who really want to know more and are really questioning a lot, I'm going to cover this a lot of why it's happening, the awakening to the new vibrational energy, the awakening to the fifth element of ether, all of these things that really have been coming to me during meditations that I've been working with people on and that I've been working with clients privately with over the past several months now is just becoming huge and widely mainstream. And I'm going to discuss that a lot in tomorrow's spirit meeting at 7 p.m. The registration is almost closed. So for anybody else who wants to jump in on that, the link will be in the description for this video. So please join us. And if anyone wants to join us and at this point cannot financially swing it, please email me because it is so much more important to me that someone who needs to be in the class is in the class rather than there being, a large amount of money that is generated from the class. That is never the point for me. It's always about how do we make sure all of us grow, because if all of us grow, then all of us grow. We've got to kind of do this as a system and as a team. That's so important. So please email me at jilliangrace@gmail.com. And we will definitely work out an arrangement to make sure that you're in that class tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time, for us to talk about why this is happening, for us to really give as many tips as possible on what to do in order to stay balanced with it. What is coming up? Why is the earth behaving like this? Why is these spikes going on within the energetic system of the earth? That is going to be very much covered throughout the class so that you will leave with a really solid understanding of it. In the meantime, though, for those of you who have kind of woken up and are just not in a good sorts or just kind of feeling very shaky, grounding is going to be extremely important. I know that seems odd that when the energy of the earth is kind of going crazy to ground into it, but what your objective is you want to make sure that your stability stays strong. So grounding is important right now, even though it might seem a little counterintuitive for some people. If you do long-based meditations where you're connecting up, that might make you feel a lot more spacey and a lot more shaky right now. So what we really want to do is just pay close attention to those lower chakra fields, the third, the second, and the first, and just bring that energy down through our bodies. So great ways to do that are going to be just standing outside, doing some breathing, visualizing roots coming down through your feet, going for a walk today. If you're really shaky, I don't suggest sitting and trying to do a meditation. I never suggest that when you're really shaky and you're really anxious, because a lot of times you're just going to keep on pulling that same frequency in, only you'll be silently suffering with that frequency. So instead of doing that, breathing techniques can be really great. Nature walks can be really great. A yoga class will be really great. Some can't do yoga right now because the studios are closed in many areas. The Astrala Yoga asanas that are on for May are really good. So if you want to incorporate those into some sun salutes, and I'm going to be doing some videos to give you some sun salutes and some moon salutes and stuff like that, because over the next few weeks, few months, those are going to be super important. So you can always start the video with some sun salutes or some moon salutes and then go into some of the suggested asanas. So many things are kind of coming to me in meditation, kind of coming through me to make sure that I do to stay balanced. And then whatever I do to stay balanced, I want to share with you guys. And then whatever you guys do to stay balanced, I want to hear about it. So we can kind of incorporate all these things together and work together, because that's really the key. But most of all today, I want to say good morning. Don't tap into maybe the shakiness that you feel. Remember, it's just an electromagnetic current. It's the element that we're going to be talking about that's currently awakening in spirit class. So you'll have a lot more knowledge of that. Those of you who are going to be in the class for tomorrow, you'll have a much better understanding after we discuss it then. Just understand that what you're feeling is actually a spiritual enhancement, and it is not a terrible event in which you're never going to go back to normal and everything is terrible. That is not the case. After spikes in the Shumann, a lot of times we can expect to have some earthquake activity and some volcanic activity and some different patterns as far as the weather patterns go. So that's one of the reasons why we've been seeing such wild weather patterns everywhere. You know, it's warm where it should be cold. It's cold where it should be warm. It's rainy. It's tornado-y. It's hurricane-y. It's just cyclones. It's just insanity. And that's why, you know, the earth is also doing its own process. And the faster we get on board with not taking a hold of that feeling of anxiety and just kind of like harboring it and thinking it's ours and just being terrified, then the easier it's going to be for the earth to clear, and then we can clear, and then it will go much more smoothly. But I got this really interesting little picture that somebody sent to me, somebody very dear to me sent, and I had to smile, and it said, everyone else on earth is going through their dark night of the soul, but many of us spiritually understand that we've gone through like probably 8 in the past 6 years. Not really 8, but, you know, a lot. So we've got to look at it that way. Right now, the earth is going through its dark night of the soul. And those of you who don't know dark night of the soul, it's just an ancient way of describing. It's a stripping of the layers of the ego. There's different ways of describing it through different theologies. It's headed towards enlightenment in many of the Buddhist traditions. It's called the dark night of the soul. It's also called the awakening of the Christ consciousness. Just different patterns have to take place in order to get to a point where you fully integrate and understand what you truly are. So think of it that way. The earth is going through a dark night. How would you help a friend that was going through a dark night? You wouldn't jump in the dark night with them and suffer. That doesn't work. You would do the best you can to stay grounded and give them whatever they needed in order to be supported. And that's our job to all of us out there. And that's my job to you, to be part of your growth, part of my growth, part of our growth together. So I am so honored that you guys have allowed me to be on the journey to finding the spirit that is you. And I am here for all of you, because I know you're all here for me. So thank you so much. Hang in there today. Hang in there the next couple of days. And anyone who needs it, jump into that spirit class, because it's going to be a great one. Thank you so much. Take care. I'm Jillian Grace. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.